the sound's going to be a bit weird on this. I'm talking into a microphone that's on the top of the camera at the moment. The reason being is I'm going to swap cameras over in a minute to a different one. I've got it all set up here ready for putting the lavalier on. They call it lapel mics in the UK, don't they? Lavalier in the US, and people get annoyed when I swap over, but I think lavalier has kind of become it's a French word, sounds like, doesn't it? Anyway, already going off topic. So yeah, I bought myself a new camera for holidays, really. And the reason being, I just thought I wanted a better quality camera, but I wanted it to be compact still. I'll explain more when I've swapped them over, because I think the sound will be better on the other one. But the camera that I chose is the Sony Alpha 6400. I think you can pronounce it Alpha 6. It's got an alpha sign, hasn't it? You don't say A6400, do you? Anyway, it's just come out recently. I got it with the ultra small pancake 16 to 50 milli... I don't know what I'm talking about. 16 to 50, let's just say 16 to 50 pancake zoom lens. I've even put a little lens cap on here that automatically closes. That's good. No more lens caps to lose, and on this one it's particularly fiddly. You were sort of right in the middle, and it's quite likely you're going to touch the lens every time you took it on and off. I hate lens caps. Lens caps are my enemy. It's got this screen that pops up, so I don't need to put a screen on top of the camera. I haven't got one on this at the moment. I hope I'm on there. And also, you know that I had that problem with the camera shutting off after 30 minutes due to the laws about importing cameras that could record over 30 minutes, so they cut the recording time off at 30 minutes, blah, 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 blah. This doesn't have that, because they got rid of that idea, so this one could just record until the battery's dead. And when it stops recording, I'll know, because it'll show it on this screen here. The thing we're using an external monitor with the camera that you're looking through now, which is a Sony RX10 Mark III, it didn't display the information on the monitor that the camera would display on its rear screen, so it wouldn't say if it was recording or not. The monitor would just stay on with a live feed even after the video recording had stopped. So I'd be looking, thinking I'm recording. If I could have seen the screen on the back, it would have gone, no, you're not recording, and turned off or something. So yeah, everything I need in this. I've seen people complaining that, oh, if you put a microphone on the top you won't be able to see the screen and things. There are solutions to that where you can put ones on the side. Not interested in that, because I don't generally use microphones on top of the camera. This is an exception, this section that I'm doing to camera now. I use the microphone on top of the camera when I'm shooting down here, things like this that I need to record the audio from to sound relatively decent, better than the built-in mics. But then, of course, I'm shooting with the screen like this, or more like that, so I have it tilted out like that. So yeah, I think this is going to be suitable for me. So we'll see how it goes anyway. It is really a holiday camera, but I think I'm going to be using it in here quite a bit. You'll better see the difference now. I'll swap it over. We'll plug all the bits in. I've got... this is one of the good things, the reason why I got it as well. Uses the same batteries as the RX10 Mark III and II. So I've now got 3 official Sony batteries. The batteries from other companies that I've bought in the past are just terrible. They just run out after like 20 minutes or something, whereas the Sony ones just go on and on. Probably for 45 or something. And this adapter, which is the infrared adapter, means I can control the camera remotely with this remote control. Zoom, record, start, stop. Even take a picture with it, so I could use that on this camera as well, and of course plug my microphone in. And even if I did want to use that microphone that's currently on that one, it would slot in the socket on the top here. There's a kind of shoe which has a lot of connections in, some sort of smart thing they call it, whatever, but you plug the thing in and it connects up, so there's no like extra wires going anywhere. It's taking the power and sending the signal down through the hot shoe at the top. So yeah, swap you over now, see if you prefer the image quality. I'll just talk a little bit more about this. Right, we're on the other camera now, and I can see on the screen, on the Alpha 6400, that it's recognising my face and putting a square around it every now and then, so it's face tracking. That's one of the benefits of this. I don't have to set a focal point and stick within it. The camera will just follow me around as long as I've got that set. So yeah, I think we're looking all right on that screen there. So I'll have to just keep looking at the lens rather than the screen, but I think I'd notice now if it did stop recording. So yeah, this is the one that you were just looking through, the RX10 Mark III. I mean, this is great. Bigger zoom, of course, than the other. I mean, look at that. Excuse me, madam, but yeah, gigantic zoom on that one. But just too heavy to take on holiday. I tried, and I nearly put my back out. It's ridiculous. I'm a person who doesn't like cameras with swappable lenses that are this long for telephoto, this one for macro. I'd rather just have it all in one. But this, I think, isn't a bad compromise. It's got a small amount of zoom on it, and it should just sort of fit in a jacket pocket, not in a jeans pocket. But yeah, certainly that wouldn't fit in a pocket unless it was a kangaroo just given birth, I think. So let's just pop that camera out of the way. And now, you remember previously I tried to do things with Amazon and Google's voice assistant, trying to set the time so I could tell when the camera needed to, so I needed to stop the camera and restart it. Well, I don't need to do that now. Swapped over to the Google Assistant in the house, so all the Amazons have been unplugged and put away in a box. I'm going to give them away to someone, I think, if you can deregister them, because they're just hopeless, the Amazon one, compared to the Google. Just so much better at stuff. For me, don't want to upset anyone that's bought both. I bought both, but I've decided on the other one. But I wanted to show you this, because it's only going to be on today. So talking about clocks, let's go there. Now, can you see that? I wouldn't imagine you can very easily. Let me try and zoom you in. This zoom is going to actually take you off to one side, isn't it? That didn't help, did it? Okay, well, let me explain what's on the screen here. That wasn't the whole zoom. It's just I thought if I'll zoom in, I'm going to end up over here rather than over here. Right, look, 15:36. That's the time. I don't know if anyone's watching this as I'm recording this, but over in, I think it's Norway, these kids are doing this live camera, and every minute, this is brilliant. Every minute they have to get on some step ladders and reconstruct the digits out of planks. I wish I could sort of tell you about this before it's over. When the hour comes round, it's a big celebration as well, and I think they might swap the teams over, because of course these kids have to change it every minute. I say kids, I mean they'll be teenagers, some sort of college thing or whatever. It was also live on a Norwegian channel all day. This is a YouTube feed, but there's a Norwegian channel where they're sort of interviewing people around the station as it's going on. The station's in Bergen. That's where it is, I remember now. So I don't know how long it's on for. I mean, it says a day, but I don't know when that day started and ended. Somebody sent me a link to this, and just nice to have that in the background, isn't it? It's like a real life screensaver. I think that's brilliant. I don't know. I mean, I like things like this. At the end of this one, I'm going to put out a poll to see how many people are interested in me continuing with these rambles, because I kind of feel like they might be doing more harm than good. I'm like Liam Neeson here, having an interview with them. Really, they're like sabotaging everything. I'm just concerned that at some point I'll say something that I'll just consider to be just a bit of a, oh, by the way, did you hear about this? And then that will stain everyone's opinion of me just because I've brought it up. I mean, I've got no great opinions on anything. I just like to sort of chat about stuff, Really, I've just got the missus to talk to, who's not interested, and you. So that's why I'm doing this. It stops me going mad. That's what this is about. So yeah, I got my Sony Alpha 6400. This was a £1,000 camera. I ended up getting it for £800. Now, initially, I'd been looking at all sorts of cameras. I'd started off looking at the Ricoh, is it GR3? I wrote it down somewhere, which has an APS-C sensor in it, which appealed to me. No tilt screen on the back though. I always need a tilt screen. I tend to shoot like kind of this. This is how I shoot photos if I'm looking at a screen, or I'll do that. But I'll never do this. This isn't a thing. But that's what most of those cameras are designed for. So yeah, I don't think it had. No, it didn't have a viewfinder. It didn't have a tilt screen. So it put me off it. So then I was looking at the Alpha 6400, which I kind of dismissed after everyone criticised the screen and the way it popped up. I realised it was ideal for what I wanted, especially given the small pancake lens thing. And the review that encouraged me in particular was Ken Rockwell. If you look at camera reviews, there's loads of different reviews out there, but Ken seems to be the most genuine, kind of normal, common sense type of guy. So yeah, that's why I ended up on the 6400. So I picked it. I thought, well, that's nice. I'll get one of those. Treat myself. £1,000. I thought, well, that's a bit much. And I had a voucher for Jessop's camera shop in the UK, 5% off if I spent it by Sunday. So I thought, well, if I 50 quid off, that's all right, I'll use that. Might as well. No one else was offering any discounts, brand new camera. So I went there, and for some reason on their site they had it as a pre-order. I thought, oh, pre-order, what's that about? Never mind, filled it in, and it said you can't use this voucher on a pre-order, even though other shops said they had it in stock, so that annoyed me. And then, so I started looking around, and I thought, hold on, I'll look on eBay. It's a lot of money to spend on a new camera on eBay, but I'll see what's there. And of course there's these, I'd say, slightly dodgy companies that are offering it a massive discount. And I ended up, there was one doing £800 plus £10 postage. So effectively about 20% off, £200 off. And they always tell you not to do this. Never go with these companies. They're all dodgy, blah, 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 blah. But I buy enough stuff off eBay to know my way around eBay. And I see that this place sells lots of cameras, and they said they were in Switzerland, but then in the description it says it was in China, but it said it gets shipped from within the EU, and you get a UK spec one. I thought, well, I'll give it a go. I mean, what could go wrong? I could lose £1,000. Well, I'll get it back because it's PayPal. This person had plenty of feedback. Just file a claim against and get the money back. So it's kind of a no-lose situation as far as I was concerned. Put it in. It took 9 days to arrive. And yeah, UK spec Alpha 6400. Now people say, oh no, it's not UK spec, that'll be Saudi Arabian or whatever. Don't care, mate. It works. It was brand new, in box, and if it goes wrong, it goes wrong. There might not be a guarantee on it, I don't know. But if I had a choice between, do you want to buy this camera at £800 with possibly an invalid guarantee, or £1,000 with a valid one, I've picked the 800 option. That's just my choice. But yeah, some of those dodgy eBay things, if you know your way around it, you can get some pretty good deals. But this whole experience with cameras got me thinking the other day, because I've been watching lots of camera reviews online. There's it's all about being like some professional photographer. You know, this. I'll tell you this. I've got I went on Twitter. B&H Photo, right? This is, you know, everyone knows B&H Photo. I've been there in New York, aren't they? But there's this bravado, this kind of match, like willy-waving competition with cameras. Do you keep your camera mode set to the same selection, or do you switch it up depending upon the situation? What is your preferred camera mode? Right? They're just promotional stuff. Great people, B&H Photo. But it's just the replies that amuse me. I shoot in manual, so I rarely move the dial away from M. And then this guy says, I'm alternating between manual and aperture priority. Manual when I care, aperture when I don't. Manual, mostly manual. My favourite camera mode is manual. I started with aperture priority but moved to program manual mode. Mostly manual. I'll never use manual. If anyone doesn't use manuals, rubbish, all this kind of stuff. It's this kind of, I'm a manual photographer. Now, so that this whole thing's got me thinking, because when I was watching all these reviews, great camera review people, all the rest of it, but not for me, not my kind of review. I'm a person who wants a camera that fits a certain dimension and takes really good pictures with a minimum of fuss. A lot of people who've gone from a smartphone to a camera, or gone from a compact camera to a bigger camera, they just want to take snapshots. That's what I want to do. Snapshots and video with the minimum of fuss. Don't want to learn about aperture priority and shutter priority and all that stuff. I've been shooting video now since, I don't know, 80s sometime. With photos as a sort of second on the list. My job is to take video and photos. And yeah, I don't know my way around a camera. I wouldn't call myself a photographer in this sense of I'm manual, I only use manual. I don't know about f-stops and stuff. If at all possible, I want the camera to do all the hard work. I just want to be the guy that presses a button and it takes a brilliant picture or really clear video. It focuses on the thing I want. I think if I have to start intervening in the middle of that to get it to work properly, well, they haven't done their job right with the software in the auto mode. That auto mode should be
flipping brilliant if I paid £1,000 for a camera. If I have to jump in and say, oh, hold on, I'll sort this out. It's like, you know, with your computer sort of jumping in, oh, don't calculate that. I'll write it out on pen and paper and then put the answer in. But I don't trust this spreadsheet. It should work for you. That's what you're paying for. So that's my opinion about cameras. But there aren't many people catering to that opinion, you know, where you just want to take a good quality photo, but you don't want to learn a whole skill set. And I thought, well, maybe if I started doing camera reviews every now and then of better cameras, I'd call them like full auto camera reviews or something, where it's just like, look, stick it in auto, how good's it going to work for the average person that cannot be bothered with all this nonsense? I think these camera reviews are off-putting for people. I think they're start going on about all that stuff and people say, oh, forget it, I'll just use my phone. It's putting people off. So I think there's a bit of a niche in the market there, a bit of a hole for someone just to come in and say, look, I don't know what I'm doing, but I want a camera that takes really good pictures. Let's see how this one gets on with taking pictures. I don't want to mess around with ISOs or any of that business. I just want to press a button on it. Just something that I was thinking about. Maybe I should start doing that. But then again, you kind of enter into that kind of audiophile type area where whatever you do is wrong because it doesn't match what somebody else thinks is the ideal. So maybe it's best staying away from it. And besides which, if they all go on sort of junkets to places, I wouldn't want to do any of that. I just like doing my own thing in my own time. Overzealous spam filters, that's something that I had a problem with. A couple of people have asked me things and I've got back to them because I thought, oh, it's a good thing, I can reply to this. I've written a big long reply, put some links in, found the things that I wanted to, videos on YouTube, look at this website, etc. Put it all in, send, and it comes back, this has hit a spam filter and like, you know, it hasn't got through to the recipient. And I don't know if it's I've been blacklisted as some kind of spammer, but it's a bit disheartening, you know, when you spent all that time and then you have replied and it just bounces back. It seems like there's overzealous spam filters around, but it does put me off making the effort sometimes because you just don't know whether you're going to get your stuff through to the other person. Talking about weird emails, I've got a couple here. There was a guy asked, how do I record CDs on my CD recorder? That was what I got. Now I feel for the guy. He wants to know how to do it and he thinks I'm the guy that can help him, but I don't have a CD recorder. I don't have his CD recorder. I don't really know much about them at all, and I don't know why he couldn't record on his CD recorder, what was wrong with it, but I can't go into stuff like that. Another one, my Walkman Pro won't play. That was another one that someone asked me about. A couple of suggestions I always get. Russian X-ray records. Every now and then one of these websites will post an article saying Russia, when they didn't have vinyl, they used X-rays to well, actually, it was like band records were put onto X-rays, old X-rays, and they're called bone records or something. Yeah, they go on about this kind of stuff. It's a bit nonsense, to be honest. It's one of these kind of fakery things that's got blown out of all proportion. Yes, it did happen, but not to the degree that people go on about it. And you can buy these records every now and then. Oh, the Russian bone records. No, they're reproductions. They're ones that people have made to sell on to other people. The vast majority of them are. If you see one with a picture of a skull on it, for example, and someone's put a record on that, yeah, you can safely assume that someone's just manufactured that for you. The X-ray records, from what the real ones that I've seen, tended to just be like wasted X-rays even. You know, they weren't even like a good quality one. You'll see these ones where people sell, it's like a really clear picture of like a hand or something. It's like, yeah, okay, why would anyone have X-rayed that anyway? And yeah, so that's one that people often ask me about. And of course the other ones, I'll get a lot of people linking me to Facebook. Hey, look at this, and they'll put a Facebook link. I'm not on Facebook. I never will be on Facebook, and I wish Facebook could burn. But whenever they do, it's an elbow cassette player. I mentioned it before in videos because there were so many people linking me to it. I ended up having to say, look, I'm never going to review this, and yet I'll still get people linking it because I haven't seen all the videos, obviously. It was just a design study. It was some design company drew in, well, a CAD program, a design of a portable cassette player. For what reason, what purpose, I'll never know. And then everyone got a bit giddy about it. When's it coming out? I'll have one. Where do I buy it? And it was like, no, a guy's just sat at his computer and drawn it on a CAD program. So then they had to pretend they were making it. Oh yeah, we're working on it. It wouldn't have ever worked. If you looked at the design, it was missing a number of components that a cassette player would need, and they said that they were going to get round that with sensors and things. It was all just lies. Anyway, eventually, I think after about a year or so, they admitted it wasn't going to come out. They couldn't get it working or something. And that was the end of that. But I still get an email every few days, someone say, hey, look at this. It's funny how, I mentioned it before, how a lie could travel around the world before the truth has got his trousers on or whatever. And then the final one is the laser turntable. I've mentioned many a time that I'll never review that because it costs more than my car and plays records almost as good. It only plays black vinyl, can't play coloured vinyl. In fact, it's so bad against dealing with dust that when you buy it in a bundle with a high-tech record cleaner. That's, and also there's one chap in Japan makes them, just one guy, and he makes them to order, and he doesn't have any dealers, and he'll sell them to you directly, and therefore you have to pay import duty on top of the price of it, which is like 12,000 or something for the cheapest one. And there's no discernible benefits to it whatsoever. It just is, there's no point. It's a pointless product. It was reviewed back in the 80s and 90s in magazines and things, just a couple of them. Tells you something, that, because if a Sony record player came out, there'd be 100 reviews. And they were underwhelmed. They said everything sounded flat. But yeah, that's something everyone wants me to review. I'm not going to review it. I don't have £12,000 to spend. In fact, talking of money and how much a video can make or not make, going back to the Sony Wenner strap, I've got the analytics for that here. Up to today's date, it has earned £312.12p, that video. It all sounds well and good. Trouble is, the thing cost me £350. It might eventually draw even, and the thing is, I really bought it for two reasons. One, to make the video about it. I really did think it would be quite a successful video, not a major success, but I thought it would do better than that. Yesterday, for example, it earned £1.67, so it's going to take a long time to earn back what it cost. But the other one was I wanted to try it for myself, and I do still use it. I like it. I use it inside the house here. The last message came through from Patreon, and it was Keith Johnson who replied to the last comment. So there you are, Keith. You came through while this video was being made, and I could see it on here. But yeah, it only works inside the house. It's just I cannot read it outside. I can just about make out when the colour blob flashes. So I know a red one means that I think it's something with YouTube. I've got colour codes that I can never remember. The purple's patron. If I see a purple flash, I think of patron. I think green tells me that someone's alerted one of the cameras on the house. But I can't see which one to. Well, I can't even see outside at all. I have to kind of really get in a building and then cover it up and take the glasses off and all that. So yeah, not the best thing in the world, but I do like it inside the house. I do use it in the house a lot. But the funny thing is here, it's lost me 25 subscribers. So you kind of think, I'd have been better not making that video. Literally, I would have been better off not making, just taking that 3 or 4 days off, which is, that's disheartening but it's just how it is. You get hits, you get misses. That was a miss, not a massive miss, but yeah. Oh yeah, the copyright claim on the Beans Bondham Beatles video. You saw the outro on the last video about the DC International, about that getting a claim on it. It's all true that it got a claim on it for 11 seconds of audio. And it seemed to, I think it said it was manually reviewed or something. It's almost like somebody from UMG is being paid to go in and have a look, and if the word Beatles is used anywhere, they'll have a look at the video and play it to see if there's any audio in there. I get the feeling that wasn't picked up by the auto content match. I think that was a human interaction. But apparently somebody said it's 8 seconds of audio now is the minimum that you can get away with. 8 seconds. So, when people want me to review things and say, oh, you didn't play very much music through that, I want you to hear a record through it, what's the CD sound like? You go, well, I can't really play you anything, which is why I've been trying to accumulate a bit of copyright-free music from various people. But yeah, 8 seconds just isn't really very much, is it? I'll talk about music. I was going to mention this at the end. Anders Enger Jensen, he's sent me Retro Grooves Volume 1, 2 and Planet X3 on his new mini discs. You know, we did the mini disc video in 2019. I don't know where, it's over there somewhere. The Planet X3 one's particularly nice artwork on there. But yeah, these. So I love these little mini discs that are being printed by this company in the UK. He sent me a video as to how it's done as well. They've got this machine cost about £40,000 or something. I'm not too sure how much. And they lay them all out on like a big tray, and the tray goes into the machine just like a kind of, baking in an oven really. And then this laser zooms all over them and does all the colours. Interesting to see, really interesting. But yeah, just if you want any of these, if you think you'd want some mini discs, again, go on Anders' website. That is eox.no, and I'm sure he'll have them on his store there. And I thought that the previous one was a very reasonable price. I didn't look how much these cost because I got them for free, which is nice of him. I've got to send him a record player at some point. I just need to figure out how to get it there. We chat every now and then. Wikipedia, Techmoan Wars, I've written down. There's a Techmoan page on Wikipedia. I didn't have anything to do with it, but if you put Techmoan in Wikipedia, it pops up, and it's a page that somebody wrote about me. I keep seeing at the top, somebody keeps trying to close it down. Somebody doesn't want this page on Wikipedia. This page should not be here, and you can sort of click through on Wikipedia. Somebody wants it closing down, like, it's not worthy of Wikipedia, and then other people have been working, I see, to put extra links in on it. I think the more things that it links to, the more likely it is that it's going to stay there. I don't care. I mean, if I'm on Wikipedia or not, I'm not big-headed. It's not my kind of thing. If it's there, it's nice. If it isn't there, I don't think it'd change anything. Some YouTube channels have Wikipedia articles, some don't. I mean, if you looked up, say, PewDiePie, he'd have a web page, wouldn't he? But I suppose he's classed as a celebrity. But I just thought it's amusing that there's like people trying to take it down and people trying to put it up, and I'm just like, yeah, whatever. I don't really understand why you'd want it taken down. If somebody's made the effort to put it up, just leave it there. It's not exactly like using resources, is it? Wearing anything out. I mean, just leave it. One thing I noticed though, if you do search for articles that I've had videos where I've made a video and the article has either been created by someone or elaborated upon and then linked to my video. There's 28 on Wikipedia when I last looked. So it's nice to know that there's something going to be around as a result of something I've done. I'm never one of these ones who wants to change the world, but if I can show a format that people haven't seen before or elaborate on some information that people weren't aware of, and then it links to me as one of the sources on Wikipedia, I think that's quite nice. It makes me happy that I've sort of done something. I can understand. It's like you get these people where they want to sort of build a park or Carnegie Library and all this kind of stuff. I think that's my contribution. I always wanted a bench though. I always wanted a bench at Victoria Station in Manchester. I was going to write on it like, Matt sat here for hours and hours waiting for trains that never came. I don't know if they'd let me have that, but that's something I wanted to put in there. There was something else I was going to tell you about like that, but I can't remember what it was now. Oh yeah, that was it. I get people ringing up. You get these, don't you? These fake call type people, where they're trying to rip you off on the phone. There's one at the moment where somebody rings up and they say, I'm calling about your life insurance policy. This is in the UK here. And you can hear it's a proper call centre. There's people in the background, or at least they've got a sound effect of people in the background. But I'm pretty sure there are other people doing it in the background. I've worked in call centres for years. You understand these things. And they're ringing up saying, I'm calling about your life insurance policy. Well, of course, I've been turning the tables on them, and I've said, right, well, before I can continue with this conversation, I've just got to do a couple of brief security checks. First off, what's the first and last initial of my surname? And second, can you tell me what the name of the life insurance company is that you're referring to? They always hang up. Brrr. Just makes me laugh because they don't know who I am, and they don't know anything about me, and I don't have a life insurance policy. Or if I did, I don't think I've got one. I don't know. It wouldn't be worth anything if I did. But yeah, a lot of stuff. I was having a bit of fun with those. I mean, you see people having fun with them online and recording it, but only a bit of fun because they just hang up immediately. I used to tell me, I got a parents were getting loads of these. Of course, they prey on elderly people, don't they? And I got them a box that was like a blocker that will block calls if somebody rings up. And it came with like 3,000 numbers already blocked from known offenders. And if they ever get another one, it's got a big red button on it that they just have to hit, and it says block. Now, they're terrible with technology, but they can figure this out. So they get one of these calls on, and they just go boom on this button. I think it cuts it off, and it adds it to the database of calls of numbers that if it rings up again, it can't get through. Just swap the battery. It worked. It beeped. The screen went off. I knew when the battery had died. So this is it's all working well. Yes, I say they used to get about 10 calls a day until they got this machine in. So very, very useful if you've got elderly parents and you're concerned about them giving away the details on the phone by accident because of these fraudsters. Just look for one of these call blocker things. I think it's really worthwhile. Oh, you might be wondering about this ring. Yeah, it doesn't look good, does it? This is one of those Aura rings. I got one of these after seeing Leo Laporte on This Week in Tech. Did a demo of these, a promotional thing, and I thought that's good. 50 quid off and all that. I give it a go. It measures your heart rate and sleep monitoring and all that kind of stuff. I'm not interested in all the exercise stuff that smartwatches do, but I'm interested in sleep tracking because some days I wake up, I feel like I'm being dead and someone's just revived me. And other days I wake up and I'm like super alive. I was trying to figure out what the connection is. After wearing this for a couple of months now, no idea. It's just random. It doesn't seem to coincide with anything. Some days I will get more deep sleep than others, but that doesn't coincide with waking up and feeling great. So I've still not figured it out. I still haven't got used to it. 2 months in, and it's just it's quite thick. And putting my fingers together, I don't like the feeling of it in between. I'm one of those people that once I start noticing a feeling, it really starts playing on my mind. I've never been able to, like, say, wear a necklace or say a hat had a string around the back touching on your neck and that kind of thing. Super sensitive. So next video that's coming along is the Osmo, the little gimbally camera. Spent 3 months with this now. Got some opinions on it, and you'll see that in a really long video. That's going to be along in a week or so. I've edited it all. I've got it all on YouTube. It's just I'm not putting it out just yet because I've got nothing to go after that. I've had a pretty bad week. I haven't felt too great, and it's been difficult for me getting anything done. So that's why I'm doing this today. Also, I was supposed to be getting a Sony record player through, a brand new one. I forgot the model number. It's like LX300 or something. Because I was thinking of doing more of these modern hi-fi reviews that I mentioned to you. It keeps getting delayed. It was supposed to be out about 3 weeks ago, and they delayed it. It's supposed to be out like last Monday or something. Last Friday, delayed it again. It's now the 1st of April, so I don't know whether I'll ever be getting that. I mean, I'll explain it more in the video, but it's like an extra record player. It's not to replace the other one. It's just to be attached in with the AV equipment in the front underneath the television. But quite fancy. So what I'm saying is I put everything to one side with the purpose of this week being to get that video out as quickly as possible, and then it didn't come. So I'm kind of scrambling around with half-finished things, thinking, I don't really fancy finishing that one just yet. So yeah, that's why everything's a bit disorganised. Another couple of things I've got here. This will only apply to people in the UK. If you have a Sky Q and you just can't get along with the touch remote, but like the voice control feature on it, well, I mean, I've had Sky Q since the day it came out, pre-ordered it, in fact. Well, I didn't realise until recently they brought out another version of the remote with the voice control button on the side, so you could just search for the name of a program, just click on it, or search for a channel, even say, TV off and stuff. but it just looks like the normal remote, so it doesn't have that awful touchpad thing that I just could not abide by or get along with. So it's the standard remote control, but Bluetooth, so you don't even need to point it at the Skybox. It's still got an infrared transmitter in here, so you can change the volume on the television, but if your Skybox is inside a cabinet, it will still change the channels on it. So it's a Bluetooth remote with a voice control, but using buttons. So if you weren't aware of one of those, have a look for them on eBay. People are selling them dead cheap. For what they are compared to what the official Sky price is. So if you've got Sky Q, I'd recommend getting one of those if you don't like that. The only thing I'll say though, I bought two because we always have two remotes. Mrs. has one on her end of the settee, but I have one at the other. So we can always just reach onto the side table and change the channel without having to like reach all the way across. We've always done that for the Sky box. You can only link one Bluetooth remote to the Sky Q box. So I got two, and when I linked the other one, then the first one stopped working. So one Bluetooth remote at a time. Still, you can have as many infrared remotes as you want, so we're just using the old remote on one side and the Bluetooth on the other. But yeah, that was something else. Now, you know, I was mentioning the little camera there, the Osmo Pocket. A year and a bit ago, a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years ago, I got the Rilo, which is a 360-degree camera with digital image stabilization, but really good stabilization. And I was going to do a review of that. Took it on holiday, got loads of interesting footage, monkeys and things and all the rest of it. Didn't end up doing it because they kept updating the firmware. Every 2 minutes there was another firmware, so it was always adding new features. So whatever I did was always out of date. And I find that there's this feature creep with products nowadays, and the same thing was happening with the Osmo Pocket. You do a video and you set it all, you think, right, I'm going to do this review, and then you just expect to do it. It's all new firmware. It fixes the thing that you said was rubbish and adds in this feature, so then you have to go back and do that. And you end up, it just keeps moving along. You never get to that finish point of like, here's the finished product, here's what it looks like, here's the review of it. That's what happened to the Rilo. I might go back on this one though, because the main issue was that you could only edit the footage on an iPhone or an iPad, or I think Android as well, but you couldn't do it on a computer. There was no computer software for it. The reason that was an issue is you recorded in 4K, so you've got these massive files and you have to put them into your phone, so you have to have all that space free, and then you have to export them from your phone to, it's just such a long-winded way. So it did really good video, but getting it out of the flipping thing was a disaster. Yeah, you could take the micro SD card out, put it in a computer, unwatchable. You just get those two big globe things, because it's a camera on each side, and for photos or video. So you couldn't look at the raw footage. It had to go through this processing step. But I noticed the other day that they've had a software for the Mac OS desktop software for a little bit now. So I'm going to go looking back at my old footage and see if I can edit it in the computer and actually make some use out of it. But yeah, so it's an issue I've been having when I've been trying to review some things, where they just keep messing with them, updating the firmware, changing them, and the product's never finished really. You buy it and it's never finished. I bought a few MOOCs from Japan. MOOC, halfway between a magazine and a book. So it should be MOOCs then. But anyway, can't read Japanese, but this one is the Cassette Tape Complete Book. So it's got all the different cassette tapes from the different companies. I say all, there'll be holes in there, and then it goes on to the actual machines themselves, all the Walkman models from the individual companies. So just nice to look at the pictures and you go, oh yeah, I remember that one. Actually, that is the one I had. Been looking for that for years, could never find that one anywhere. Yeah, so I had a HSR20 from Iowa by the looks of it. Huh. Yeah, you don't see that one around. And then this one's more like hi-fis, mini systems, MIDI systems, boom boxes. Of course, we didn't used to call them boom boxes, we called them ghetto blasters. But that's politically incorrect now, so I can understand that. So call them boom boxes. Come back to me. I've heard people say, call them worse things, believe it or not. There's a horrible phrase I had someone use once. And this one's cassette decks. This one is 1967 to 1988 boom boxes. So yeah, those all available from Amazon in Japan. Don't cost too much if that's the kind of thing you're into. Now, you know, I mentioned Amazon in Japan for the little miniature hi-fi things the other week, you know, the little toys. And people say, where do I get them from? Immediately in the comments, where do I get them from? From Amazon Japan, trust me. Just go to Amazon Japan, go up to the top, change the language into English, fill in your details, create an account, and you can just order things from Amazon in Japan exactly the same as you would from Amazon in the UK or wherever. Delivery is incredibly quick, and they're not going to sort of overcharge you in the way that some of these intermediary companies do, because they buy them from Amazon, then they charge you another 30% on top or something, and the cost of transferring your money over, all that kind of stuff. No, if you want something from Amazon in Japan, buy it from Amazon in Japan. It's dead easy. Honestly, it's the easiest thing in the world. Just go up to the top, change the language into English. Top right. Anyone can do it. Right, I think this camera's worked out pretty well. Tell me how you like this camera. Did you prefer it to the other one? Did they look the same? But anyway, that is it for the moment. And as always, thanks for watching.